What's going on today? We're going to be back on my wife's 66 GMC. We're going to be doing what I call a budget 5-lug swap, which is basically just your conventional 73 to 87 suspension swap on one of these older trucks, which this is a 66 GMC. So we're going to be swapping over front cross member and also rear end. That'll give us our 5-lug, and we'll be getting on our way. Alrighty, so we've got our rear end and our front cross member in from the square body that was outside. Pardon the dirt bike racing in the background right now. They're really ripping it up. But yeah, we got this in, which is, like I was saying, all this stuff came out of a square body. We even got some pretty cool rally wheels with it. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit here, make sure it's nice, and then we're going to be coming in with our paint just like we did on our frame, and hopefully getting these things looking just as good. I think that they definitely will come out good. We're going to be using that sweet patina paint, and I'm not going to go through the whole process of painting these again, so the next time you see these, hopefully they look a lot better. But I do have a video down below in the description. I'll link. You guys can check that out, and it's a full step-by-step on how to do the paint, which it's a really great product. I bought a second can, so obviously I'm a believer in it now, so go check that out, and hopefully here in a little bit we'll have us some nice painted parts you guys can see. Alrighty, it has been a couple days, but got the rear end painted, also the cross member and the rest of the front suspension. So now that we've got all that completed, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing starting to bolt in. Hopefully this cross member, I won't be able to bolt the rear end in this video because I am waiting on some drop leaf springs, but I'll get you guys in on that on another video. But we'll get this cross member in right now. From what I understand, it's pretty much just a bolt-in application to get this square body, which would be 73 to 87 Chevy cross member, into our 66 C10 frame. And I think that we might have to slide out a couple of these holes, but we won't know until we get there. So let's get this over here to the frame, and I'm gonna try to figure all this out with one person right now. So let's do it. Alright, we got the cross member all set in here. There is a couple holes here that look like they may not line up, which I don't have this one over here lined up the greatest, but I would say these two holes here that connect the cross member are probably going to be the two we're going to have to end up slotting, but everything's lining up pretty solid for the most part. So my next game plan is I'm going to go ahead, grab a couple bolts and start trying to stick them in these holes. Once we start getting these, if we get two in here and the third one needs slotted, that's no big deal. We'll grab us a little die grinder with a burr bit, come in there, egg shape that thing out enough, or we can knock it down. Well, unfortunately I don't have any new bolts, so we'll be using our old bolts that we have out of our old cross member that we took out right before we painted this frame. So that'll be okay. I mean, the hardware is not bad. It's just a little rusty looking, which I can just come in later on and kind of dust them with some paint, and nobody will ever know the difference. So we've got our middle one in, try to get a nut on the bottom of this, and then I'm just going to continue trying to get as many bolts in here as I can. There's 6 total. Holding the cross member up as far as on the bottom of the frame, and then there are 2 threaded fasteners on the back side of your cross member here. I'll get you in here in just a second once we get to that point, but right now I'm just going to stick to these bottoms and we'll start getting these things assembled. Alright, so far so good. We got all three here. I'm going to switch over here to this side real quick, repeat the process, and then we can start getting our bolts like I was talking up here on the upper thing behind the A-arm. Alright, we got all three of those in, and the ones that I was telling you guys over here, I got to looking a little bit closer. It's been a couple weeks since I took this cross member out, but I think there's actually 3 threaded ones. Alrighty, so I was only able to actually get 1 bolt started. This second one down here is really close, and these top 2, they're just pretty much non-existent. I mean, you can see this one, so I think we can walk that up just a little bit and make that pretty good. But on the back side here, I'm going to plan to drill from this side, and it'll come through our frame, and we'll put another one there, having a total of 4 on this side. I think that'll make it pretty rigid, and it'll be just as good as factory would have been. So that's my game plan, and then after we get everything started, we'll come back in and we'll suck everything down. Alright, so as you can see, I ended up getting that thing wallered out pretty good. I went ahead and stepped this up to a 1/2 inch bolt. I'm not sure what exactly goes in it. I'm thinking that the other ones are all 7/16 because I didn't actually have that size. So I did this one and the one on the other side the same way. So next thing we're going to be coming in here doing is we're going to have to drill a hole in our frame right here. You can kind of see there's nothing there. So what I have in my hand is what they call a transfer punch. You can see there at the end of it, it's just got a little prick on it right there. What that'll do is come inside of our frame here, and I'll stick it in the hole here, just like that. And that allows for very little movement, and I'll come back here to the back end of this and smack that with a hammer. So in doing that, that'll set us up for getting a good straight hole in there. That way we know we're going to be doing everything right. Our center point's going to be right, because if you just put a regular center punch in there, the thing can walk to one way or another with the, yeah, I just called it. But with this, you can actually get your center point in the right place, get your hole drilled, and everything's golden after that. Alright, the last thing we got to do is suck all of our bolts down, and our cross member will be installed. Pretty painless to get a good 5-lug swap for the most part. I didn't really compare on this one versus the other one, but I've heard that the U-bolts on the square body lower control arms are a lot more beefy than the 60s, so that might be something we check out, because I've still got the old one right outside the door. And the most fun getting these through here, because you got to come up from the bottom and there's a nut, so see if we can't get those. Oh. Yeah, these are definitely not very fun to get to. Alright, 1 down, 5 to go. Wouldn't it be wild if car lifts were affordable and everybody could get one? Maybe if I didn't have 35 truck projects, I could own one myself. last one. I'm just gonna lay here a minute. I'll catch y'all here in a second. Alrighty, after successfully dragging every tool in my toolbox out here to put in 6 bolts, we are now done. We've got all of our 6 in the cross member that we just installed, the 2 that we drilled out, which are now 1/2 inch, and then the 2 lowers, which fit into a little threaded bung back in there. The front cross member is installed, but I would like to get this rear end behind me at least sitting over here so we kind of get an idea what we got going on. I got to order the drop springs like I was saying so we can get those in, and we've also got to order drop parts for the front here, because I'm going to end up putting probably at least a 5.3 on this truck. Hopefully in the future it might be a little bit lower than that even. Hopefully in the future it'll probably be on air ride. Alrighty, so we've got the truck looking like a truck again, or at least the truck frame is looking like a truck frame. We got front suspension, and some of you may have noticed that the spindles, brakes, and all that stuff, it still looks pretty nasty. I didn't spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff right now because we are going to be getting all that off, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do drop spindles or a drop coil yet. So either way, whenever I do that, I'll be pulling the spindles off and everything like that and painting that while it's out of the truck. But rear end is, like I was saying, just in limbo right now. So we're kind of just having that up in the air. I am gonna have to do some wheel cylinders on that thing. I do think that they're stuck, which is fine. I mean, everything's gonna be gone through, but that is way too much rambling. Hopefully you guys like the video. This is a pretty budget-friendly way to get 5 lug on your 63 to, I guess, 70, which I think 70 might have actually had 5 lug. I'm not sure on that, but anyway, budget-friendly way to get your 5 lug on there. But enough rambling, guys. I did work 14 hours last night, or yesterday, work 14 hours again tomorrow, so I'm gonna hit the hay, get this video edited up so you guys can see it. But as always, thanks so much for watching. Get out there and work on your projects, and I'll see you on the next one.